Three men and a multiverse of sci-fi's finest spacecraft. But which ones can claim to be the greatest ships ever? Welcome to Space Doc Jury.
Space Doc Jury, episode 43. I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space.
I'm Peter, and I'm bringing Captain Rack's Buccaneer.
And I'm Andy, and I'm bringing Rocinante from The Expanse.
What's Captain Rack's thing from?
It's from Doctor Who.
Ah, Doctor Who. Right.
If I match Doctor Whom.
Whom? Yes, so there you go. So three wildly different ships this week.
we're certainly reaching that part of the cast, aren't we?
We're certainly reaching that part of the for your consideration
the grasping
list.
at straws section of the list.
Yeah, just a slight smidge. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to do that. I won't go through the top 10 because nothing has changed since last week. It's exactly the same with the Elder Craft World at the top with 76, and at the bottom the Spirit of Fire with 64 points, and everything else in between is exactly the same.
And if anyone's wondering about the bottom 10, that hasn't changed either. Nope. With the Zygon spaceship, what would you say, the top of the bottom or the bottom of the top? Either way.
Sat at the bottom, I think.
The Zygon spaceship sat at the bottom, and Nell from Battle Beyond the Stars at the other end of it.
Yes, at number 10 in the bottom 10. There you
yes.
go. Cool. Well, there you go. That's the quickest we've ever got through that thing.
Yeah. Everybody got that?
Everybody got that? Yeah. Good. So, so we're going to have, I suppose they're TV spaceships if you want to do a theme.
Do we want to do a theme?
No, not really. I'm just I'm just saying, if we're doing a theme, if anyone's looking for a theme...
I've already told you what the theme is. It's the grasping at straws.
Grasping at straws. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So last episode.
Previously,
we had video game spaceships, and surprisingly, Pete did very well with the asteroids ship, which surprised a lot of people, myself included. But he still only got 31 points, and so therefore lost out in the actual episode. But any other day, he might have actually won, which is kind of scary, looking back on some old episodes. So, Pete, it's over to you, sir.
Okay, so Captain Rack's Buccaneer, as featured in 1983's Enlightenment, starring Peter Davison's leak-sporting incarnation of the Doctor. The Buccaneer is one of several solar sailing ships. Remember them? Aha!
Yes.
We're back with the Bajorans, are we?
Yeah, taking part in a great race to win the prize of Enlightenment from the Black and White Guardians, two very dodgy-looking dudes with birds on their heads. Don't ask. Those competing in the competition are the Eternals, who, as their name suggests, aren't much bothered by the Grim Reaper. Unlike the captured human crews they use to sail their ships for them. Captain Rack herself is one of these captains. Very much the evil Eternal. Her name even means destruction. And is played with pantomime glee by Lee's favourite, Linda Barron.
Oh, no, she isn't.
Oh, yes, she is. Linda Barron. Oh, dear. Aunty Mable. Aunty Mable and Pippin the dog.
Yes. No, there's no place for Pippin, sadly, on board. You obviously ate him or something. The then producer Doctor Who, John Nathan Turner, did like his stunt casting.
Yeah.
Other examples, of course, being Ken Dodd as a futuristic tollmaster, Richard Bryars as a possessed caretaker, and my personal favourite, Beryl Frackin Reed as a tough space commando, complete with leather uniform. What gives your brain the bends just watching her? It's just like, why did they cast it? This is just so wrong.
You do know that I'm going to have like the theme tune to come outside playing underneath all of this.
Well, possibly, but I'm going to give you another option.
Go on.
although possibly not quite such a harmonious one. Because this story also features Imagination's Lee John.
Oh,
That's 3 E's.
nice.
Body talk. Body talk. Yeah, that's enough to send anyone mad, I think. He plays the first mate. And he comes close to being able to act occasionally, but I'm sure that's pure fluke. Rack's ship itself, like all the Eternals vessels, are solar sailing ships modelled after Earth vessels, and hers is a pirate ship bristling with cannons. And they even make people walk the plank into deep space at one point because, you know, pirates, what are you going to do?
Of course.
All it's missing is a robot parrot. But that comes later.
No. Space pirates. No. Sorry.
Being 1980s Doctor Who, the effects possibly aren't going to stand up that well, but actually it's one of those stories that's got a great deal of charm and imagination, so it kind of makes up for its shortcomings. Kind of. Size-wise,
Okay.
it's a standard size sailing ship, so not very big. So 1, really.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, even the biggest sailing ships that I know aren't over 100 metres.
Exactly. Not hugely likely. No. Although, you know, given the weird physics that's going on here, anything is possible. But no, it's definitely not that big. We see them up on the deck, so yeah, it's clear. Not big. Sublight, for a change, I'm going to got some decent points of reference for this. This isn't just me looking at how fast it's going across the screen. Because she traverses our solar system in a few hours in the story, slingshotting around planets to pick up speed.
Nice.
That's actual science, that is.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of it
I wouldn't count on too much in the science score, but that is in fact actual science. So, yes.
So, on the basis it's ours, that's a 4 on our scale.
Good Lord.
I know, that's unheard of for me.
Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
I make up for it in Fast and Light, though, because there's no mention of anything, so it's a 0.
Oh, right. Okay.
Evidently, the wind speeds wasn't quite up to it.
No, I suspect the Eternals could choose to go Fast and Light, but they wouldn't bother with a solar sailing ship to do it. They'd just sort of pinch their nose.
A solar sailing ship.
Yeah, she did a bit like that. Yeah, just pinch their nose and appear elsewhere, Rent-A-Ghost style, I think.
Oh, right.
The level we're on.
Okay.
Maneuverability. They are said to weave in and out of asteroids at one point, though it's not shown on screen because they're really not capable of showing that. Yes. So I think a cautious 3, possibly.
I mean, if they're weaving
if we're
around...
talking an Empire Strikes Back asteroid field, then absolutely, no question.
Well,
if you're talking
we're clearly not
asteroid field, no.
we're talking, if I remember rightly, sort of digital blobs on the screen is about as high tech as it gets.
Yeah.
You don't see any actual rocks or anything. They're just blobs.
Since feeling magnanimous, have you free.
There you go. Though I have to say, that's just reminded me. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 the other night, and watching the Milano leap around those teleporting asteroids, I think we need to reassess the maneuverability of the Milano up to a 5.
The Milano has various areas that need reassessing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, thanks to that sequel.
Yeah.
We should probably just mark the entire thing as grey for future reference.
Yeah. Just worth noting. That's all.
For future alcoholic consumption.
Exactly. So on to firepower.
Firepower. It's got cannons, me hearties.
Jim lad.
Yes.
Watch over, cabin boy.
No, it's not the same we did. There's also the Deadly Room of Deadliness that it hasn't got a name, unfortunately, that enables Rack to single shot other vessels with the power of the Black Guardian or something. They really don't explain it very well. It involves getting a glowy red thing aboard another ship, and then she goes into the room and somehow the other ship blows up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit difficult to gauge that one, really.
I was going to say, is that coming from her or is that coming from the ship?
She has to be in this particular room in the ship to do it.
Right.
And whether it's just her that can do it or any of the crew, that's not explained. And yeah, it's almost like they're placing a bomb on another ship, but in order to detonate the bomb, she's got to be in this particular room that's got this big portal thing.
A bit like the Tantalus device from the Mirror Universe episode of the original series.
Yeah, that's right, because they view them on the screen, don't they, with that one?
Yeah, but that's not... Well, again, I'm just saying, but in that instance, that's not part of the ship because he has it brought onto the ship to his quarters.
Whereas in this, she has to be in this specific room in the ship, and it's got this specially designed window, which kind of it's a bit like a TIE fighter window. It's sort of a targeting thing.
Okay,
I don't know. I was cautiously suggesting a 3 on that one.
But you just said it one-shotted the ship.
Yeah, but it's hard to gauge because these are sailing ships. But then again, there are sailing ships, as we'll come on to, that manage to survive huge gravitational forces. So they're clearly not your standard sailing ship. So
it just looks like a sailing ship, doesn't it? It is not
exactly. Yeah,
I mean,
a sailing ship. Well, yeah. They're magic.
I think. Look, it's one of two things here, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you're one-shotting a ship if we decide that this ability in the room counts, or it's nothing because we don't have any information. I don't think we can kind of say, it's somewhere in the middle.
It either is or it isn't.
We don't know. It's binary. It either can do it or it can't do it. Now
we've seen it do it though, don't we? So
if we've seen it do it, then it's one-shotting ships, and that's what, 9?
Yeah. So that's city leveling, isn't it? So
10 then.
We talk about capital ships, and I'm not really sure these would class as a capital ships, and at the very least, knock it down to 9. I would have thought.
Okay.
And I'd also just say that I mean, I've not seen the episode because it's not on Netflix, unfortunately. But again, I will take your word that it is part of a ship and not.
I'll say it's in conjunction with. She has to be in this room to do it. She can't do it elsewhere. So the ship is part of.
The ship is fundamental.
The equation. Yes.
Are we having another Genesis device discussion here?
No.
But again, you see, the Genesis device could have been set off anywhere. It didn't matter where it was.
As long as you had that tea trolley with the plunger on it, you could do it from anywhere, really.
That's it, yeah. Whereas, as I say, this is the evil room of evilness that she has to go to in the ship to do it.
Yeah, let's give him the points.
Yeah, it's fine. So 9 points. Wow, it's going. It's going.
Right, that takes us to defence. So, active is a big 0.
Okay.
Passive, they have some sort of shielding that protects them from the vacuum of space so that the crew can be out on the rigging and stuff and still live.
Yeah.
And they're able to survive the severe gravitational forces involved in slingshotting around Venus. In actual fact, one of the other ships doesn't. It blows up, although they claim they think it's because it's got too close to Venus, but actually it turns out it's Captain Rack blowing it up with a special weapon of evilness.
Right.
So they're not just made of wood and string, basically. But,
I will just point out, though, that our space probes made out of tinfoil and bootlaces do manage to slingshot around planets as well. It does come down to
they're not preserving life at the same time, though, are they?
I would point out the ability to maintain an atmosphere is kind of just fundamental for a spaceship, period, within our classification systems.
Yes, but when it's a spaceship where you can climb the rigging.
there's...
it's the Futurama argument. It's the so how deep can this spaceship go? Well, given that it's a spaceship designed to operate in the vacuum of space, somewhere between 0 and 1 atmospheres.
But I take his point though. Take your point though, Pete. Because
mean, if it's tinfoil and it got too close to Venus then and tried to do a slingshot, it's just going to crumple, isn't it? Surely.
No. Again, because our probes do that.
Yeah. Cassini unfortunately just proved that like only two.
So in other words, when they make the comment, they got too close to Venus and blew up as a result, they were talking out of their butt cheeks.
Well, they did get too close. I mean, again, Cassini went around Saturn plenty of times, and then it did get too close. That was intentional.
And then it went.
So in other words, if you're not too close, you don't have to have super heavy armor to survive it.
Exactly. Yes.
Got ya.
Yeah.
Tiny brain has learned to think.
It's more of it's the physics and the pull of the gravity.
I mean, from the sound of it, I mean, only going by like the sound of it, it sounds to me like a sort of light armor kind of a move. It's kind of it's a 1. It's kind of strong enough to hold the air in.
Yeah.
But unless does it take any other shots? Does it take any other damage?
Other than I think. Well, I'm not sure about Captain Rax, but one of the other ships does get jostled a bit by the asteroids and survives. Oh, jostled by asteroids, baby.
Jostled by asteroids. See,
they've got some sort of armor. I think probably one for low armor is probably the fairest bet, really.
Okay, because I was going to say, because the only thing on our scoring that mentions shields is 3, and that says shit shields.
Yeah, but I mean, these are literally just shields to keep the atmosphere in, so they're not defensive.
So it's like a soap bubble.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay, it's a 1. Nothing.
It's already doing better than Cisco's little light ship.
Well, that's not surprising, is it really?
Yes, but then again, Cisco isn't magic.
Yeah, and let's also not forget that we had to count the toilet as one of the specials on that ship, and then it got discounted. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, special for this baby, she's got a crew of cutthroat pirates, or at least a bunch of vaguely depressed-looking BBC extras in pirate costumes. But I don't think I can push it for any further. So
just 1 for an boarding party thing.
I mean, if she got Pippin, we might have scored 2. But
yeah, well, exactly. He can fly a plane. We've seen that.
Yes,
he can fly. He can fly a spotty plane. You can't argue with that.
Wow.
Yes.
Flashbacks.
Things we show our kids, eh?
Crew.
Yes.
We don't know precisely. We see about a dozen, if you count the extras, plus Rack and Lee John. And on the basis that a score of 2 covers between 6 and 25, that seems like a fair score for her, really.
Sounds about right then for half a dozen people. Yeah, okay, so that's a 2. Competence.
Well, Lee John's inability to act aside, Rack does actually manage to win the race, destroying quite a bit of the opposition in the process. So, doing well here.
Yep.
But then it all goes to pot at the end because she mysteriously gets thrown into space off screen, along with her first mate Lee John, by the Doctor and one of his companions, which is more than a bit feeble, really. I mean, how did that happen? We don't see it. It's a real cheat because the other companions are watching on a scanner and they see 2 bodies come off the ship and they assume it's the Doctor and Turlo. And then the Doctor and Turlo turn up and go, "Oh no, that was Captain Rack and Lee John." Right, you pushed them overboard?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the excuse is because they're Eternals, that didn't kill them, so that's not the Doctor being violent or something. But yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
So she goes from being really successful and nearly winning, well, literally winning the race, to suddenly being incredibly feeble. So I was going to go with a 2, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I would have said 3 if she does everything but faces off against the Doctor and loses.
Yeah, but to lose to being pushed overboard by the Doctor and Turlo. I mean, if you knew what Turlo looked like, he's all skin and bones.
Oh, I know what Turlo looks like. I remember Turlo. I remember him.
Public school boy.
Yeah.
I mean, not going to push a daisy over, let alone Linda Barron. I mean, you'd take 3, 4 of him to push Linda Barron over. So.
Did the audience forget to shout, he's behind you?
Yeah, they pretty much did, yes. Look out behind you.
Yeah. Okie dokie, well then 2 it is. Okay, here we go. Realisation.
This is clearly a model ship. It's the finest airfix kit the BBC budget would stretch to. It's not completely rubbish, but in no way does it look like it's a real actual ship that's there in space.
No.
So I was thinking maybe a 2.
I've got no problem with that. I was actually gonna say 2 because I've got a photo of it. It's not.
Yeah, that's all you need to see, really, is it?
Yeah. It is all got but paint marks on the sides of it, plus brush strokes.
Yeah.
2's cool. Okay, interior. This is going to be funny.
It's not too bad for Doctor Who, actually. We see a dining area, the bridge, the deadly weird weapon room thing.
Yeah,
and some of the top deck,
and the wheelhouse with a nice Persian rug.
And it's because it's period stuff. Effectively, they're replicating, which is something that Beeb's quite good at. And they also, with a rack ship anyway, they actually light it quite darkly. So it's not too bad for Who. I'd say 3.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of hard to judge, isn't it? Because you can go, well, that's definitely a pirate ship, but does it look like a spaceship that's a pirate ship?
No. I mean, it literally is just a pirate ship that is in space. There is nothing to indicate that it's, except for the weird weapon room thing. That's about the only sci-fi bit of it, really.
Have you seen this thing, Andy?
Oh, yes, I've seen it.
Right, okay, so 3. I mean, it is a pirate ship. 3. So what about science then? Come on.
A big 0, surely.
Thank you.
It's space magic.
Space magic.
And that is doing a massive disservice to space magic.
Yeah. I was going to say, Jedi everywhere are going, that's not scientific. Hey!
Yeah. Give us some credibility.
Yeah. So what about cool factor then?
Well, I'm going to give it 3. It's not my favouriteest Doctor Who thing ever. I mean, it is I'm not a great fan of Peter Davis's run in general, but this is one of his better stories. And the whole concept of these sailing ships in space is kind of a cool one. It's just the story doesn't quite live up to it, and so the ending is more than a bit of a cop out. So yeah, 3, I think.
Okay, Andy.
Well, listeners might not realise the only thing I like more than spaceships is actual ships. Like, I'm really into ships, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And this is a really good ship. However, I kind of like my spaceships to stay in space and my ships to stay in the sea.
Does not compute.
A little bit.
My vision is impaired.
A few issues with the lack of... The sails are hanging limp. It's just like, why bother with the sails? If you're not even going to go to the effort of simulating them being filled with wind, it all just looks a bit limp. So, because I'm feeling exceptionally generous tonight, primarily because I have an exceptionally expensive bottle of whiskey here, I'll give you 1.
Right.
Okay. So that's a 1. Okay.
So that was money well spent on whiskey.
Yeah, I was going to say, you buy more whiskey, you'll be well away. I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't. It looks like someone's just got a model boat and gone, do you know what? If you look at this from the underside, it looks like a spaceship. Brilliant.
No,
Let's write a story.
They haven't done that. They've literally got a model boat.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is it's the way that, sometimes you get kids who have like Airfix kits or dinky toys or anything like that, and then they suddenly like turn it upside down and go, oh, it looks like a spaceship or something like that. You can imagine. No, you can imagine that what someone did was they were looking at a boat from the underside and the keel and looking at it and thinking, that looks a bit like a Flash Gordon rocket ship. And then the plot was made, and then they just went, yeah, let's have that, and then forgot that they had to also film it from the top.
No, I don't believe that for a second. I literally think they just went, fuck it, that'll do.
Sailing ships in space. Cool is what they went.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, they did revisit this in the new Doctor Who with things like the Titanic.
Yes. Oh God. Let's never bring that, please. Let's just not.
Yeah, that was not a good Christmas special. Not that there are many, but yeah.
Oh well, I something for a couple of episodes, perhaps.
No.
No.
Thank you, Doctor. No, shut
up.
Was
that the Kylie Minogue one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the one where the Doctor gets ascended to heaven with robot angels.
Oh God, yeah. The Doctor is Jesus again.
For no reason whatsoever, other than we've just said.
Space Jesus.
Space Jesus. We can't make this clearer enough. He's an angry god.
Nah. Space Jesus.
I'll sing hymn number 42, Space Jesus.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm afraid I just can't.
Nil point.
Nil point from over here. However, it is worth mentioning that you have scored 1 point more than the asteroid ship with 32 points.
Okay.
Which is kind of remarkable, really. I mean, I don't know.
I will put most of that solely down to the firepower score, which is highly debatable.
It's a bizarre one, it has to be said. Yes.
Well, in fairness, if it wasn't for a massive dose of nostalgia, the asteroid ship wouldn't have done very well because it was got 10 in cool factor.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it would have been on 21 if we'd just been honest. So there you go. So Captain Rack's pirate ship from the, was it the Eternals or the Enlightened?
The story's called Enlightenment.
Enlightenment. There you go. Scores 32 whole points. Though I have to say, I'll give you props for this. This is the first ship in like months that actually stays in space and doesn't crash.
No, it doesn't blow up.
Yeah,
or nothing.
It's done well.
Loses its captain, but no.
Yeah, boy, done good. Well, there you go. So, 32 points for the Captain Rack's pirate ship. And now it's time for my ship, because I came second with my Cobra Mark III from Elite. 42 points I got last week. And now I must bring you the Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space. Now, I will say this right up front. This is the Jupiter 2 from the TV show, not the animated show, where it looked like a rockety dildo thing, and not from the film, where it looked like some kind of epi lady.
We'll point out the only reason he's not bringing it on from the film, though, is because he would have had to have Matt LeBlanc as part of his crew.
Well,
that's the only reason.
No, actually, it's because I have seen that film like so many times. I've told that story before.
You told it last time.
Yeah, I can't watch it again. I just simply cannot ever watch it again. I can't. It just, even if it was the best film ever, I can't. I was going to say, I still twitch every time I start to hear things about, like, hear Apollo 440, sort of like that. No. Can't do it. So, so the Jupiter 2 from the TV series Lost in Space, it basically was a large flying saucer with a exterior with a dome on top and a large viewport. It was the J2 class, Jupiter class spaceship owned by the Robinson family. The ship stands 2 stories tall, according to this, and the upper deck is comprised of 2 decks, the upper deck being a sophisticated automated guidance and flying system, plus 6 stasis tubes, capable of holding the crew in suspended animation during their duration of their 5.5-year journey to Alpha Centauri. It also contains communication systems, cabins, that kind of thing, and generally living decks. There's an escape pod, and then on the underdeck there is also chariot. A chariot, basically, it's a car. And the engine areas, and the airlocks, and ramp to get out of the ship. The ship itself, basically, the ship itself had, nothing in particular. Let's be honest. It had some internal defense systems, it's just the standard things you would expect to find in a spaceship. There's a stateroom, there's artificial gravity, suspended animation chambers, a force field projector, a thing called a Deutonium annihilation drive, which is how it gets into hyperspace. Hydroponic farming section, which is in the lower decks as well, along with the gallery and food preparation and work laboratory. That's about it, really. Hold on, I've just found some more stats on the fandom page. It stands over 2 stories tall, weighs 1,100 tons. It has an elevated glide tube to get in and out of the ship. The lower level contains blah 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 blah. The anti-gravity drive system to make wasn't just to keep people on the deck, but it was also for liftoff and touchdown on the ship. So it was like sort of an ability to make the ship hover. It consumes 250 megawatts of full power and could translate that into 55,000 pounds of thrust.
Is that all?
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Not even enough to send a DeLorean back to 1955.
No, exactly. 100% of the thrust is utilised in anti-gravity drive to avoid to fly up into space, and the rest of the propulsion is generated from magnetic fields, apparently. The stasis pods were for to save people from getting permanent brain damage or when the ship took off. So, because the anti-gravity power thing could do that, apparently.
Wow.
If you're not,
exactly. Slight design flaw, perhaps.
Yeah. The FTL drive was sufficient to propel the spacecraft to Alpha Centauri in 5.5 years. So we're not going to do particularly well there. It was capable of producing unlimited thrust by emitting photons. So essentially beaming light out the back of its ship.
You think the sun shines out of
Into
your
arse. Yeah, exactly. It had pitch, yaw, and braking and control rockets, which were basically liquid oxygen thrusters, as per normal spaceships. And as far as defensive weapons, all the defenses and all the weaponry and all that kind of stuff was pretty much with the crew themselves.
Handheld phasers.
Yep, they had handheld phasers, a supply of 50 grenades, a 500 kilowatt laser rifle, and
a suspected paedophile.
Yes. Oh yeah, and also 1/2 stick of dynamite. There you go.
1/2 stick.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Just in case. Yeah. Then there's a bit about navigation. Oh, each computer. You're gonna love this. Each computer had 100 megabytes of memory.
Whoa, the future.
Yeah. And it was exactly, and it was capable of processing 1 million commands per second. There you go. Which sounds a bit like an average phone. But
we've got a Motorola Razr, have you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's about it really. There was there's a thing about cabin control and air pressure. But the other thing, the ship had 3 staterooms and the internal walls on the upper deck could be reconfigured as necessary. So basically I think that's just an excuse for them just forgetting how to rebuild the sets between episodes and then suddenly going, oh, well, hold on, this room's suddenly like 4 times bigger than it used to be last episode. Oh, no, that's a thing. That's a thing. Yeah. And, the hydroponics farm had a variety of seeds growing, including peas, squash, corn, tomatoes, onions, carrots, and potatoes.
Yum.
All growing on fiberglass mats, apparently.
Right.
Science is going to do really well on this, I suspect. So that's the that's the Jupiter 2. According to the blueprints, looking at the blueprints, the interior was about 60 feet across. But it looks bigger. So I have no idea, but because it's 60 feet across and because the height was essentially 2 floors, I mean, it's not very big. It seems
trying to work out how that chariot fitted in it.
Well, yeah, it's the.
Well, actually, wait! I figured it out.
Go on.
Figured it out. I'm looking at an image here, which I'm going to post into the chat.
Yes.
And I think you can clearly see. Where's the chat window? There you go.
Yep.
All right.
Go on.
Have a look at this.
Yep. Okay.
You can clearly see in the middle of that picture is.
Yeah.
A TARDIS console.
Oh yeah, TARDIS. Well, it's quite funny because the deck there, the second deck, doesn't look big enough to hold a man in. But I've got blueprints that show it can hold a man. So I think internals it's going to lose a lot as well.
Yeah. And again, the chariot is.
Yeah, that chariot would have taken up like all the room. That's like someone bringing a Samsonite case on a camping trip, isn't it? It's like, fucking hell, where are we going to put any of this? So, yeah, I don't know. At the moment, anyway, scale size, it doesn't matter what it is, really. It's only 1. It's never going to go over 100 feet by the looks of that. So, yeah, 1. Sublight, as we said, 55,000 pounds of thrust. I don't know.
That's a very impressive number.
Yes. Well, I was hoping you'd turn around and say that's like a Tomcat or something, and it doesn't go very fast at all.
How much was it?
55,000 pounds of thrust.
55,000 pounds of thrust, I think, is in the region of an English Electric Canberra's engines. Yeah, no, that's not very big. No. That's a 1950s jet engine, basically.
1950s jet engine. Nice. So basically, what you're saying is it's not very fast at all.
No. Well, okay. I'm not saying it's not very fast. I'm saying that is not a lot of thrust.
No, that's not a lot of thrust. Well, that's his standard of flying. So, yeah. So we'll just give that a 1 then.
Well, I think, as ever, when one doesn't know, mark it 1.
Yes, exactly. Now, the hyperdrive thing, the anti-gravity drive deuterium annihilation drive thing, right, it says...
The one that causes brain damage.
The one that causes brain damage if it's 100% when you're not in a freeze tube.
Oh, I thought that's only if someone tries to explain its operation to you.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. It takes 5.5 years to get to Alpha Centauri. However, just to really throw a little wrinkle in the old, in the old thing here, every episode they would be flying across the galaxy in a matter of minutes. So,
across the galaxy in a matter of minutes.
Yes.
But it's designed to get them to Alpha Centauri in 5.5 years.
Yeah. I'll read it.
Alpha Centauri being 4.5 light years away.
Yeah. So basically, 1 light year a year is kind of like maxing it out.
Well, a bit less than that, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yes, 0.9 or something. But then, look, I'll read you this bit here. This is taken straight from the manual that someone produced. It says, it is shown to take 5.5 years to reach Alpha Centauri, although in later episodes it is referenced often that it can travel through the entire galaxy within a day or less. Then it's got a little footnote saying, though the show's use of the term galaxy often does not match real life.
It's Star Trek in sectors, quadrants all over again, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's either ridiculously fast, it's either like absolutely insane, not quite wibbly wobbly, but not. I mean, like it's practically a 5, or it's a 1. there is no mid range.
Oh, dear.
No, I mean for me, since you have stats on how long it should take to get to a known point, I'm more inclined to go on the 1 because, as they say, their definition of a galaxy does seem to vary from episode to episode.
Yes,
and I don't think you ever actually see it do that. They just reference it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like standing next to your car and saying, "Oh yeah, she'll do 0.5 past light speed."
Yeah, done the Kessel run in so many parsecs, and it's like, yeah, that's a measure.
12 parsecs.
But that's a measure of distance, you fool. So what do? Just break it off the end. Yeah. So but that's a 1 then. I mean, because
I mean, if nothing else, just because the information you got makes bugger all sense.
Yep. Maneuverability. Nothing in the show. I mean, if it was the film, we might make an argument for 3 because you do see it whizzing around asteroids and doing a typical lightweight.
Flies through an exploding planet, doesn't it?
Yes, it does indeed. God Almighty!
You're having flashbacks.
Yeah, I am. I completely forgot about the exploding planet bit, and now, yeah, thanks for that. So, in terms of the TV show, it just kind of ambles about a bit.
Lands.
And then lands. So I'm afraid that's a 1.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Right, okay. Firepower, absolutely bugger all. Because all the firepower, as it's at great pains to point out, is all with the crew. And their half stick of dynamite.
Harsh language.
Open the window, throw the dynamite out, close the window again.
Yeah, exactly. And they're 50 grenades, half a stick of dynamite, a couple of laser rifles, and a couple of laser pistols. That's it.
Yeah. Although, again, in the film, it had torpedoes, didn't it? Because it blew up the...
Yeah, but we're not doing the film one. We're not doing
the
film.
I'm just illustrating the point.
You can't make me go back.
I thought for a minute that the thing at the top was a turret, but no, it's not, is it?
No, it's a communications array, I think.
Oh, right.
I thought it was a little dome so that the kid could stick his head out and say,
well, it depends, because like in some series, some episodes, it's silver and referred to in a blueprint as a communication array, and then in others it's clear and then it's shown as a dome that kids stare out of. So make of it what you will.
I can see my house from here.
Yeah. Second star on the left and straight until morning. Right, okay. So active defense 0. Sorry, I'm going to have to cough again. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's a 0. Passive defense. It has absolutely fuck all. Sorry about that. Has absolutely fuck all in terms of anything. It's got a force field, but we never see how powerful it is. And frankly, there's nothing to indicate it would be designed for a fight. So I'm going to have to put 1 because we have no idea for passive.
Yeah.
Special, we have the robot, but I don't know how the robot doesn't really do anything to other ships. It protects the interior of the ship.
It warns of danger.
It will warn of danger.
Usually to Will Robinson.
Yeah, usually to Will Robinson. And that's about that. So Again, there's nothing in special.
Oh, you can have one for the robot if you want. I'm feeling generous.
Okay. Well, I don't know, but the thing is the robot doesn't actually do anything.
It warns of danger. It's an early warning system. Doesn't do anything.
So
it
does
just
a smoke
flails
alarm.
its arm, going,
So does
warning,
a smoke
warning.
alarm, but you don't put a special up for a smoke alarm on a spaceship, do you? Really?
Well, if that smoke alarm woke you up in the middle of a fire, I think you'd give it a fucking point.
Well, okay. Pete, a point or not for the robot?
Feel free. I mean, it is an iconic robot on the one hand. So
Fair enough.
it'd be nice to think he scored a point.
Yeah. Well, then he can't be counted on the crew then. So, crew size. Well, that's just a big fat one as well because it's basically the four members of the
Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, the four members of the family. The Major West.
It's a family roadster, basically.
Yeah, Major West and was it Dr. Smith? So that's 6 in total. So that's a 1 for size. Competence. Well, they never really reached the destination.
Sorry, did you just say 6?
Yeah, 6. Oh, that's
2 for
2.
size.
That's 2. Oh my god, that's a 2.
Just into 2.
Right. So competence, crew competence. Well, despite the family Robinson, who are as a knit crew pretty fair, they are completely and utterly hampered by basically Dr. Smith, who is an abject coward, a terrorist, and a terrorist who's so bad he doesn't even get off the ship before setting off the bomb. So
He does take it down a bit.
It does take it down a bit, and then they have to rely on him for scientific information. Like, you can trust anyone like that. I think in the grand scheme of things, plus the fact they can't even get to the nearest star, and they can't even find their way home again, which is even funnier considering that they've been flying. They literally just flew in a straight line. I think I'm going to ask for a 2.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Yeah, I have
No
that.
problems with that.
Indeed.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're on to exterior. Exterior, it's a fucking flying saucer with a window in it. I mean, it's it's iconic enough, and it looks fairly competent as a model. As a prop that they're standing under, it's not inspiring me. I'll be honest with you. It's well built, and it is as iconic as it comes. And when it does fly, you don't see the wires immediately. Sometimes you get a few seconds of imagination before it passes in front of a cloud, and then you go, "Hold on, there's a big bloody great wire there."
It's the big bay windows really kind of. Because I know Pete is a big one about seeing the bridge.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful.
This is seeing the living room.
Yeah. Stouffer and
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, it is just one big bridge. The whole
I'm
thing
surprised
is...
you didn't have net curtains, actually.
Well,
Oh, they did. They're just always drawn.
So I'm kind of torn on this one. I mean, in some ways, I'm it's iconic. It's a good-looking ship for the time, and for some, compared to something like the C-57D from Forbidden Planet, it has that kind of look about it, and that was quite nice as well. And
I wouldn't say it's as good as the C-57.
No, it's on TV production value as opposed to movie.
But this is the same. This is actually after the Enterprise was done.
Yes, indeed. So it's not even as good as that, and so I've got to. I mean, I was going to ask for a 3, but
I'd be more comfortable at a 2 if I'm honest. But if Pete's happy with 3, I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, really. It's my thought. But again, that's just me being able to see right into it, really. Cool.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, we'll give it the 3. We'll give it the 3. He says, desperately trying to get it out of the bottom of the top 10, bottom 10. We'll give it the 3, but I'll grey it out because.
Oh no, leave it as 3. I don't care that much.
Okay, fair enough. Interior, on the other hand, is a little bit more well done. Even though, as I said before, they did actually have to do a script note
It lacks consistency.
Yes, it lacks a lot of consistency. It does fit inside, but things like the car and everything don't fit inside, so there's a bit of a problem there. But on the other hand, when you see them standing inside it, they are actually standing inside the actual model. And so you got to give them props for that, and I think that looks quite nice. So even though it's not super consistent, and it's not, it's got problems, and it's definitely not Star Trek level, but it's got something about it that I quite admire in a sort of kitsch, sort of 60s fashion. And so it reminds me a bit like Moonbase Alpha in some ways. So I'm going to ask for a 3. Pete, what do you think?
The inconsistency does trouble me.
Yeah, I thought it might.
I think I'd probably be more pulled down to a 2 as a result.
Okay. Andy, what about you?
The inconsistency is a bit of an issue, and the interior, they don't really look terrible. It's more that 1960s Jetsons house than a spaceship. I'm easy with a 2 or a 3. I certainly wouldn't go any more than that. For me, it's high 2, low 3.
Okay, so it's
which is no use to you whatsoever. But
no, so it's a 2 basically is what you're saying. Science. What science? It uses anti-gravity engines, which kill people if you, and it fires light out of its arse to fly along, and it. The only thing it kind of gets right is the fact that it would take, at the speed of light, it'd take about 5 years to get to Alpha Centauri. I think that's about as close to good science as
I was going to say, the only point I'd give it is the fact it doesn't exceed the speed of light to get there.
No.
Because it stays just below it.
Yeah.
Although then you get into all kind of weird time distortion-y things. But they wouldn't have known about that at the time. Or if they did, they didn't care.
Well, considering they thought that they could lift an 11,000-ton object up in the air with the power of a boat engine, I think probably not. No.
So I'm just looking at the notes on the wiki here, and there's some important information. I feel it's important to pass over to you guys.
Okay, go on.
The Jupiter 2's drive can knock out power and radio transmissions. The vessel's solar batteries would not stand 150 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures, despite functioning in outer space. And there is a dehumidifying unit beneath Smith's cabin.
Right. So that's just shot it in the foot even further for science. If it can't survive 150 degree heat, it's flying past stars and stuff. It's gonna just melt.
I'm thinking a 1.
1 it is. I'm not arguing that one. Okay, cool factor. Do you know what? It isn't the coolest ship we've ever done, and arguably it's a ship that it's easy to hate, and so it's a bit generic. But I think it's got a little bit of 60s kitsch cool, and I'm kind of steering towards a 3, just because I think that you see it and there's no mistaking it for anything else. And some of the more recent fan builds of it, where they've made it slightly thinner and slightly bigger, I think make it look really nice. And you just see that design is something that I don't know. There's something about that design just makes me go, "Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it?" Oh,
I've posted a link to the Sci-Fi Air Show page with some images of it.
Yeah, the Sci-Fi Air Show one is really nice. So, yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. If it was I'm going to give it a 3. So, what about you, Pete? What are you going to give it?
I love the windows. They're just glorious. Big bay windows on your spaceship. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 2.
A 2, okay. And Andy, what about you?
It's if you think that the C-57 from Lost in Space was like a military frigate or something like that, this is like some rich bloke's private yacht.
Yep.
And not one of those big fancy ones like, the billionaires have. I'm talking more that little thing out of Dunkirk. Take the family out for a little jolly around the channel. It is iconic. I'm not a huge fan of a bay window, but I'll give it 2.
Okay, 2. So that makes it, he says, desperately trying to get back to there and doing the adding up. Right, okay. So that gives it a fantastic, stellar 23 points.
Did you get out of a bottom? Did he get out of a bottom?
Did I get out of the bottom? No, I didn't. I am number 7 in the bottom 10. Number 7. Nice. Yeah, I kind of feel proud, but I'm not. So Lost in Space fans, send your letters to... Oh, God, I'm not in. Go away.
Danger, Lee Metcalf, danger.
Yeah, so sadly, yes, the Jupiter 2 comes grinding home with a full 23 points, making it as shit as the Voth City ship, slightly less shit than the ET ship, and also as shit as the ID4 mothership. So,
I hate to be the one to put the flight in an ointment, but I did notice we might have made a mistake in the scores.
Go on.
We gave it 1 for FTL, based on its thingy, but at the stated speed of 5.5 years to get to Alpha Centauri.
That's not
that's
FTL.
Below the speed of light.
Oh, so that's a 0 then.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 22 points. No. So now it's
Crashing down the bottom 10.
Yeah, now it's into the bottom 6.
It's only 6. It's only you're fine.
Yeah, but it's now worse than the ET ship and sitting directly below Thunder Road, and the Bajoran Light ships and the USM Ulriga, all of which are my ships. My ships are 3, 4, 5, and now 6 in the bottom 10. Brilliant. Wow. Right.
Well, obviously, you're going to have to up your game if you want to get the Covenant first and second down there.
Well, yeah, I want to. Yeah, I'm going to have to really up my game and bring something absolute. I'm going to bring Super Ted. I'm going to bring. Actually, no, I know what I'm going to bring. It's just not going to make anyone else happy. But there you go. But hey, that's for another day. So that's it. So that's 2 ships down. And Pete, you're guaranteed next time to be going second. So that's something. Yep. There you go. Captain,
best as it gets for me. Yeah.
I was going to say Captain Rack's ship isn't actually that bad. Look at that. See?
Yeah.
See?
Let's face it. No one thought when we started this that Rack would be not at the bottom.
No. I must admit, I thought that was going right to the bottom of the sea, me hearties. Right. Anyway, so it's no longer Talk Like a Pirate Day, so we'll move on. And now
talk like a Cornish person, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's like
Now
it's time to talk like BFG with a fizz Whistler.
Talk like Wurzel Gummidge.
Hello, Aunt Sally.
Right.
I'm the 3rd Doctor. Hello. I just put on me time travelling head.
Right. Okay then. Well, it's over to you, Andy, and the Rocinante. Oh, I can't pronounce it. Rocinante, roasty chicken, and I don't know.
So yes, I'm bringing the Rocinante, or the
it.
Rossi, if that makes your life easier, Lee.
Yes, that's better. Rossi.
Yeah, the Rossi. We'll just call it.
It makes me think status quo though. That's it.
Whatever you want, whatever you like. Go on. Sorry, carry on out.
Oh, okay. So the Rossi is an MCRN Corvette from the Expanse. In case we haven't already mentioned this, just fair warning: there might be light spoilers for season 2 of the Expanse, or I think Caliban's War from the books.
Yes,
you have been warned. But anyway, she's a light, fast attack ship with multiple roles, such as a torpedo bomber, a boarding party insertion. Corvette-class ships are the smallest naval ships equipped with an Epstein drive. She was originally called the Tachi, and she was stationed as a fleet escort vessel aboard the Donninger, which, if you recall, we covered many moons ago, before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
As a corvette ship of the Martian Congressional Republic Navy, she is built to the absolute highest standards. They're often used for customs enforcement, law enforcement, reconnaissance, surveillance. The only ships of a similar sort of scope, the MCRN Scipio Africanus class, which were also featured in the show The Expanse. She features multiple compartments, including a bridge, command deck, medical deck, galley, crew quarters, a workshop with a cargo hold, engineering. Being a military vessel, they are built to the highest standards with a maximum amount of compartmentalization. So each room can be sealed off. Each floor has its own atmospheric processing. Each stairway has access points with an airtight hatch. Top-of-the-line avionics. High-powered, high-resolution FLIR, or forward-looking infrared. Multiple radio antenna. All back. Basically, when they got hold of this, they literally hit the jackpot. You know, this was pretty cool. One has to question the legalities of them keeping it, but it was technically a gift. So let's go with that.
Yeah.
As a military vessel, she's equipped with quite a few little weapons, primarily the PDC cannons or point defense. These are a series of gimbaled, effectively Gatling guns, which come out of various points on the ship's hull. They're used both to shoot down incoming missiles, but also to take pot shots at things which their tracking and targeting systems can't lock onto, which they would usually do in order to fire their missiles and torpedoes. There are 2 missile launchers for 20 long-range missiles. The warheads are low-yield nuclear warheads, which are typically carried aboard. Again, I'm not entirely sure where they're getting these from later on in the series, but best not ask these sort of questions. Typically, the crew that we see in the show is a crew of 4, James Holden and his merry band. Under the Martian control, the maximum occupancy was 18 at a time, but that would have included Marines and so on and so forth. But we're not counting those because that's when the Martians have it. We're doing the Rossi. She seems pretty standard for the most part. She's been given a paint job, so she's not quite as big glaring, I'm a Martian Corvette target as she was at the beginning, which is a shame because I really like the orange and black paint scheme. I thought it was quite nice. But she's been equipped with a grey paint scheme and some gas company logos, and was also briefly fitted with detachable gas tanks. I think that's pretty much it as far as the ins and outs of the ship. Go into some specifics of what she does later on when we get to the scoring, but shall we do the rating of the thing?
Shall we do the rating? I think the rating of this should be a good thing. We should do this. It is a thing that we should do.
Yes, we will do the thingy of the thing.
Of the thing.
Why not?
Yes. Okay, then go for it.
Okay, the size of the Rocinante. She's not huge. She's pretty small. I mean, again, she was effectively a launched escort craft aboard the Donninger from way back when. I don't think she's going to be scoring anything more than a 1. I'm just trying to see if I do actually have an actual size listed here, but I cannot see one.
No.
So I think about 100 meters is above what it's going to be at most. So.
She's a plucky little ship, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah, and
she may not look like much, but she does have it where it counts.
Yes, and when you see them inside, there's it's kind of got a submarine vibe to it, isn't it?
Very much so. Yeah, it's all kind of hatchways and airlocks and stuff like that. But we'll discuss more of that once we get to the interiors, because there's some interesting things people might not be aware of.
Okay.
So for Sublight, let's see. She gets around the solar system pretty quickly. Again, we established with the Donninger that the Epstein drives have the annoying little side effect of they're technically capable of going faster than the crew are capable of going.
Yes.
I.e., if you push the engines to full power, your ship's going to get where it's going to. You are not.
No.
But still, it's not anything like Star Trek's Impulse or Warp or anything like that. I think we're probably talking about a 4. We definitely see in one episode she gets from a Jupiter orbit to something approaching an Earth orbit in a matter of hours. So
yeah,
I think we're talking before there.
Exactly. In the book, they describe it as basically she shoots from the orbit of Callisto. No, not Callisto. Was it Ceres? Yeah.
Yeah.
From there to Earth, and I won't say why, but they manage it at full burn, and they do it in a couple of hours.
Yes.
So
yes, she's a nifty little ship, and I think about 4.
Yep.
FTL, we have none, for we do not have such things. You cannot break the laws of physics. Laws of physics. Laws of physics. You cannot break the laws of physics. Laws of physics, sir.
Jim.
Maneuverability. She is a very little nimble ship, especially one particular episode in season 2, which me and Pete were talking about just a moment ago. I'm actually going to ask for a 5 based on that. She weaves in and out and around a space station with nary ado.
Yes. Well, Pete, you've seen this episode.
It's Nat's chuff away from being crashing along the sides, but she's inches away through very nimbly. So 4 or 5. No problem.
Is it hugging the donkey, Andy?
It does. I don't know if you're up to this episode yet, Pete, so I will tread carefully. But there is some examples of Alex, the pilot, literally hugging the donkey while navigating the moons of Jupiter.
Yes, no, I have seen that, and that is very cool.
So it's in the hands of a skilled pilot, one who the Martians thought was only good enough for supply runs. She can work magic.
Yeah, and just so you know, Pete, hugging the donkey is a reference to the Orville and what that does in the first episode.
Okay,
don't worry, it is funny. It is funny. Hugging the donkey has the basically the Orville kind of flying sideways and around the ship, like sort of so fast that the other ship can't even fire at it.
And that literally happens. Yes, that is exactly what happens.
Right. Okay. So 5 it is then.
Yes.
Okay. So firepower.
Now, firepower, primarily 2 main weapon systems, as I mentioned. There's, at least in the TV show. In the book, she requires an additional thing later on, but I'm not going to talk about it because I haven't read the books.
No.
And I don't want to get into that. But what we see is the PDC cannons, which by themselves are pretty nifty, but she's equipped with military-grade torpedoes. The same military-grade torpedoes which at one point destroy the Saturn's moon of Phoebe. Now, I'm not asking for one-shotting a capital ship because I don't think that's
Phoebe?
Right or fair.
Sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on.
Okay.
Don't worry, don't mind
me. Fine. But she destroys Phoebe, but I'm thinking, as far as firepower, it's probably at 8 or a 9 based on those torpedoes. They are low-yield nuclear ordnance, and again, a volley of those which were launched from the Scipio Africanus, the same sort of ship, again, destroyed a small moon.
Okay, yeah. I mean, technically, destroying a small moon should count for a little bit more than 9, I would have thought. But
it wasn't a. It was primarily a rock and icy sort of moon. It's not like our moon. It's more like a captured asteroid sort of moon.
It wasn't a good moon.
It wasn't a good moon. It's just a... Well, what did we give the Donninger way back when? Let's
the
find
Donninger.
Out where's the Donny?
Yeah, the Donninger, which sprays weaponry, sprays it around like Peter North in a paint mixer. Hold on, where are we?
Oh, we only gave the Donninger 6. Oh, that's a grey one out to revisit later on because that was again in season 1.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to ask for. I'm going to ask for a 9. Yeah, because like I said, those torpedoes, low yield nuclear ordnance, they can blow
definitely
up.
give a city a bad day.
Oh, they will ruin your day.
Okie dokie. So 9 it is.
No problem with 9. I think that's quite fair.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay then.
But we will make a note to revisit the Donninger at a later date.
Yes.
Okay,
so active defense.
Active defense. We've already mentioned the PDC cannons, which are primarily used to shoot down incoming stuff. We've got maneuverability as well, which will give us a point there. I think things like I think that's probably about it. She can operate. She's not a stealth vessel, but you are able to shut down the heat blooms and all your electronics and stuff like that and not be seen. But that comes under special, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So we'll go that in a second. But yeah, I think as far as active goes, just 2.
2 it is.
Although if you think of anything I'm missing, Pete, do pipe up.
I will do.
Thank you.
Yeah, because obviously I mean I've read the books and not seen season 2, so I know what it can do, but how it's represented in the film's TV show, is a different kettle of fish.
Yes.
Cool.
Now, as far as armor goes, again, the armor's not in of itself massively thick. There's no shields or anything like that. But at the same time, this thing could take a hell of a beating. So I'm thinking, as far as passive goes, I'm just going to see what we've got down on our scoring. I'm thinking heavy armor, probably. Yeah, it's not very heavy armor, but I'm thinking a 2 there.
That was what I was thinking.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Oh my God, we have an accord.
We have an accord. Yeah, parlay. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, for special, as we've already mentioned, there is stealthish options, if you will.
Yep.
So I think that definitely counts for 1. I think that's probably about it, really. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would particularly count. I can't think of any, so
no.
I'll just take the 1 for that. I'll take a 1, please, Bob.
You'll have a 1. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Okie dokie.
Crew, again, our primary crew, it's just our 4 happy campers, formerly of the Cant. That would be James Holden, Naomi Nagata, Alex Camel, and Amos Burton.
To be honest, Alex seems to cope quite well on his own for several episodes. So
he does for several episodes, but again, typically the ship has a crew of 4.
Yes.
Not that it makes a difference because it's 1 either way.
Yeah, and in a lot of the time, once they fire those engines, and they have to sort of just basically just sit in the crash couch. So
yes, sit and pray.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but anyway, carry on.
As far as competence goes, though, I am asking for me full 5 beans, please, sir.
Ooh, 5 beans. How say you, Mr. Pete, on that one? Because go on.
They've kind of overcome massive odds. I mean, I would say I'm not all the way through the second season yet, but up to this point, they have overcome massive odds. The ship's still in one piece.
Their moral compass is largely intact as well.
Well, yeah, that's a little more iffy, but yeah. But yeah, in terms of them succeeding what they set out to do thus far, I think they've ticked every box. So I guess you've got to say 5, yeah.
Right, okay. So, well,
you can have input from the books if you like, or from season 1.
The only thing that I found in season 1, and that's largely replicated in the books, is that old James Holden sort of seems to go through this thing that all space captains who have just suddenly been thrust into power has, which is essentially turning around and going, I don't know if I can do this, I can't do this, and sort of spending an inordinate amount of time doubting himself until finally events usually go out of control to the point where he kind of.
But he always rises to the occasion, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm just talking.
He's questioning himself all the way through, and understandably so, considering some of the things they're coming up against.
And then
he's seen some shit, man.
Yeah,
some shit.
Yeah. And let's not forget the not insignificant problem of sending out a galaxy, sort of a solar system wide transmission, basically blaming the wrong people for a fight.
True, but at that point, he wasn't on the Rocinante. It may be a loophole, but motherfucker, I'm using it.
Because I think accidentally accusing the wrong people and instigating an intersolar civil war might count against you.
But he didn't know better at the time, so
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm not going to argue the 5. I'm giving the 5, but I think for those people listening who may be like me, you know, sort of going, oh well, I've given them a 5 pretty easily. I am being the BBC and addressing the balance that actually, in early doors, Holden's a bit shit. That's all.
But he doesn't get the Rocinante until a fair bit later. But let us move on.
No, that's fine. I completely agree. It's just.
I will tell everyone out there though, as far as crews of ships that we've done, this is straight up probably one of the best. Shits over most Starfleet crews right away.
Yeah, I think go along with that. Don't think there's a problem there.
Exterior realization. I would like a 5, please, Bob, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
I got an argument with me, Pete.
It's good. Yeah, it's 4 or 5. It's a bit difficult actually because sometimes when we're watching on Netflix, it does that thing where the screen goes a bit blurry.
Oh, yeah, when the bandwidth drops.
Yeah, I think it's a bit harsh to criticise it for that, really. So I think probably 5. To be fair.
My telly went off, so I'm going to
I'm
give it.
picking for that. Yeah,
I'm going to give it 1. I couldn't see what was going on.
It's like watching CFAX.
Yeah. Okay. Interior. I'm presuming you want the same.
I'm going to ask for 5, and I'm going to explain to you why for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the sets are fantastically well done. An awful lot of production values gone into them and how they're done. But the other reason is, and this was the interesting thing I was going to say, unlike most ships, like when you think of the Enterprise, you think of the bottom of the ship working up to the top. You've got the engines at the back, and you go forwards. With the Rocinante, the decks are done vertically. So the bottom, where your feet are, is towards the engine.
Yeah.
And it goes up that way. So when you're applying thrust, you have gravity when the engine's moving forward. And when they want to slow down as well, they will do a flip and burn. So if they turn the engine the other way and slow down, you still have gravity. And they've replicated that and thought of that with building of the sets. I'm sure it's just replicating what's mentioned in the books, but it is nice the fact the ship is vertical rather than horizontal when you're inside, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good. They do mention it in the books as well, yeah. Because there's a whole thing of, isn't it Amos who breaks his leg because they do a thrust and he sort of like goes from no gravity to lots of gravity and thrown down a well.
Something like that, yes.
Well, his character, one of his major character definitions is that he constantly gets injured. So
yes, pretty much.
It is true. And I really like just things like the galley, the way that's laid out and everything like that with the, the hydroponic bits just for help replenishing oxygen. And I really want the coffee cups they've got as well.
Well, there you go. Well, I got no argument with 5.
I mean, I love the bridge and the way it's on 2 levels, and the pilot's chair sort of swivels as well, which is quite
swivel
cool.
With the little iPad-y thing. And again, it's the way that the controls are, where even if you're under high G, you can still operate the controls. Because we kind of see what happens if you have to move your arms long distances to get controls in a particular episode. It wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
And again, they all feed the drugs into the guys and everything. That's really cool. Yeah. I also like, I'm gushing now at this point, but when they go into combat, they depressurize the interior so that if they take a hit, they don't have an explosive decompression. Yeah, that's really cool. Very cool.
I think that's going to count well for your science.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's a 5 for interior, unless, Pete, you disagree. But
no, I'm cool with that.
Cool. Okay, science.
Well, I'm going to ask for 5 again on science, primarily because there's only one thing, really, that is outside the realms of physics as we understand it, from what I gather, and that is the efficiency of the engine. Other than that, the way it does the gravity, the size, the weapon systems, there's no FTL, nothing like that. It literally ticks all the other boxes, near as I can tell.
I love the way they make a point of they activate their gravity boots when they need to.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a nice little detail.
When you have, what's his name? Who's the detective? I can't remember his name.
Oh God! Yeah. Thomas Jane.
There you go. Yeah. When he's on the ship, and he's not used to being on the ship. He's not used to activating his gravity boots. And when they do a flip and burn, or they stop, and he just suddenly gravity appears, and he just goes straight onto the ground. Yeah. I think it's great.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, the only bit of science which is actually, and again, this is not arguing, this is just throwing the little bit of balance out there, is the magic juice that stops him from becoming a smear when he just goes into full burn.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. The one thing that I mean, we can't really bring it because it's really tough to kind of describe, and it wouldn't do very well in anything else. But there's these things called the light. They're like light runners or something like this from the book called Hyperion by Dan Simmons, and they literally have to have a device in your body that will resurrect you on a molecular level, and your seats aren't seats, they're trays, because they go into velocities that turn you into just smush. And you just you're just a bowl of soup with a device floating in it that will then basically reconstitute you once the ship has slowed down enough for gravity not to crush you like a tin can. So the magic juice in the Rocinante's sort of seats are probably about the most unscientific-y thing. I mean, they make sense, but it's kind of a workaround. But
Yes.
But like I say, that was only for balance. I'm mentioning that. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying overall. So, Pete, are you okay with that? 5?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Fair enough. Okay, on to cool factor.
Oh, I'm giving it all my points.
So you're giving it all the 4. Right, there you
All
go.
4. I love the Rocinante.
Pete?
Well, so the series comes alive whenever you get a decent amount of the Rocinante on screen. My problem with it generally as a series is there's an awful lot. It's like Next Generation. There's an awful lot of talking in rooms, and or too much politics at times. But whenever they do the spaceship stuff, that's the really good stuff. They do it really, really well. So yes, there's kind of a little cheer every time the Rocinante appears. She's not the prettiest ship ever, it has to be said, but that's the kind of the point is that she's built practically rather than to look nice.
Yeah.
So I think I'll give a 2.
A 2. Okay. So that's 6. Yeah, I'll give. To be quite honest, I've only seen it in Expanse season 1, and even then, not an awful lot of it. I saw as far as them nicking it, and then sort of going off towards the station and all that kind of thing. He's trying not to say anything, but so it's I've always got in the back of my mind the thing in the book. They describe it in Caliban's War, I think it is. They describe it as basically a chisel with a coffee cup on the back of it. It doesn't look like that, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I was going to say if that was the only description we had of it, then I'd be knocking this right down.
Yeah, but as a boxy ship that has all the weapons, and it looks vaguely homeworldish as well, which I quite like.
Oh yes,
so
it's very homeworldish.
Yeah, it's got a bit of Foss in there as well. So I'm going to give it a 3. So that's a score of 9. So there you go. So cool score of 9, which means the Rocinante has a score of 54 points. Woo. There you go.
A woot woot.
Woot woot. 54 points, which puts it at the same thing as the Sulaco, the Lex, the Necron Tomb Ship, Spaceball 1, and the Agamemnon.
Oh wow, that's going back a while, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, comparing it to the Agamemnon, I think is probably the best one there.
Yes,
yeah. So I think the scoring generally works, though the Lex and the Necron Tomb Ship could probably do with a bit of a reevaluation, I think. But yeah, there you go. So that's not too bad, and it's better than the Warlock Destroyer. So which I guess. It kind of has a not too insignificant passing similarity to.
It's true, yes.
So there you go. That's quite cool. So well done, Andy. 54 points. Not troubling the top 10, but then again, not troubling the bottom 10 either.
Bear in mind, at one point, the Agamemnon was in the top 10.
Yeah, at one point it was, yeah. Yeah, see, if only you were quicker at watching that first series, you would have been all right. We would have got this in the top 10. Right, so now it's just down to what we're bringing next. So what I will be bringing next week, or next time you join us, is a Type 3 Borg ship, a.k.a. that weird bone-looking thing from Descent. Star Trek Next Generation episode Descent.
Is that... Yeah, is that the one
that's Law's ship? Isn't
That's
it?
Law's Borg ship.
Oh, okay.
Lovely.
Well,
what about you, Pete?
Well, continuing the Star Trek theme.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, go on.
I'm going to be bringing a Jemadar battleship. Not the battle cruiser, which is a different ship, but the battleship.
Ooh. And what about you, Andy?
Well, in keeping with the Star Trek theme...
Oh, wow.
I'm going to bring the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, yeah, bugger. Fail.
Unless I can think of a Star Trek ship between now and then.
So you're bringing a Narcissus. Right, okay. Sorry. Can't help it.
We can't bring the Discovery yet, unfortunately, because we still haven't seen the bugger, even though there's 2 episodes been out already.
But by the time we record this, we might have seen one.
Yeah.
Well,
but that'd be
If I get enough of a sense of it from that first episode, I will bring it.
I tell you what,
Ooh.
what was the ship called in the first 2 parts?
Shinzo.
The Shenzhou.
Yes, I like the Shenzhou. I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that was really nice.
I did too, but it does have an awful lot of similarity to some of the concept art for the Akira class from First Contact.
That's not a bad thing.
I was going to say, don't knock it.
No, I'm not knocking it. Just saying.
But anyway, okay, cool. So there you go. So the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels, the Type 3 Borg vessel from Star Trek Next Generation episode Descent and Descent Part 2, and the Jemadar. Is it battleship?
Battleship, yeah.
Not the battle cruiser.
You sank my battleship.
Nice.
Is this the one that the cadets go after?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The biggie.
Oh,
He is.
blimey. Okay, I know the one. Okay, right,
Big
fine.
purple one.
Yes.
Fanar.
Yes. All the purple lights. And in fact, that's it. That's it. It's the light blue lights of the Ghost, the weird greeny lights of the Borg ship, and the purple-headed love warrior over there from the Jemadar.
Yes, that's what they call me.
So there you go. So that's it. Till next time. Before we go, let's just do some self-promotion-y stuff. So Pete, where can they hear more of you, sir?
On the street, yelling at the sky. I don't know. But on the internet, you can find me on the broadcast talking. At the moment, we're talking both Deep Space Nine and also doing Discovery stuff as well, as and when it comes out. So, yes, you can find us on Geek Planet Online or on Ian Tunes.
Nice. And what about you, Andy?
You can catch me on the Grand Prix podcast with Elton, where we talk about Formula One and all that good stuff. Which is at grandprixpodcast.com and Rogue 2 Media and the iTunes. And you can also catch me on the Band of Brothers podcast. We have 2 more episodes to do, and that's also on rogue2media.com.
Brilliant. And you can hear me on the Black Dog Podcast, which is blackdogpodcast.com and on iTunes. And at the time of recording, when you hear this, we will just be about to start our Indeterminate Weeks of Horror with American Werewolf in London, which we may or may not have done, but I can't remember, so we're doing it anyway. So, no.
Sure you have.
I'm pretty sure we have as well. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We got 2 new hosts since then. I mean, I think if we did it back in like 2009.
In the before time.
I imagine Jim will have a thing or two to say about it. So,
I'm pretty sure he will. So you can hear, like I say, do check that out, blackdogpodcast.com and on iTunes, and you can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And speaking of which, you can keep up with us on the Space Doc Jury Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/Space Doc Jury, and of course on the Twitter, which is @Space Doc Jury. So, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, no, thank you. And so, until next time, we'll see you all soon. Till then, tatty bye.
Cheerio, bye.
I should go.
You can't do that. You can't keep doing that. You can't,
I still do. I'm still doing it.
you can't hang on that crutch, man.
Space Doc Jury is a production by 3 Angry Beards.